Danny, how are you?
I'm good, mate. I'm good. I am just off the back of an absolute belter wedding at Kinmount House again. So,
Wow, yeah. Tell me more, or tell me
testing
less.
out some new toys. Panny
Yeah.
has 100 frames a second.
Welcome to the club. Welcome to the club. And you rinsed it. You absolutely rinsed it in that highlight. He sent me a teaser because he was like shouting out about this new camera that's got 100 frames a second, and he's absolutely excited about it. I was expecting maybe 1, 2, 3. No.
No, it wasn't. No, it wasn't every single clip.
Slow.
It wasn't every single clip. It was probably about 70%, but I mean, it wasn't every single clip. But I mean, it looks so good.
It does look amazing.
It looks amazing.
I
have had, FYI, I have had, and I won't name any names, I won't out you, but I have had prestigious Sony boys say, "Oh my God, that picture looks amazing. What camera was that?" No word of a lie.
So what are we filming on today, Danny? Sony. So welcome to That Win Videographer podcast. My name is Jace.
My name is Danny.
And today we're going to be talking about something that every single person always has queries about, always asking questions, and is usually their biggest gripe. It's social media.
It's the one thing actually that we've been asked about. Well, two things: branding and social media. I would say were the two things that people reached out to us in the DMs to kind of speak about as part of the podcast for the first few episodes. So we wanted to give the people what they want.
Giving the people what they want.
I think we've chatted about this outside the podcast before, that people actually use it as like a search engine now as well, more so than maybe like what Google is used for.
Yeah, I mean, if you look at a highlight of TikTok, for example, most people who use TikTok these days are actually using it like a search engine. For example, if you go to a new town and you're looking for a takeaway, like a chippy or something like that, people are more likely to put onto TikTok best chippy in Glasgow than Google it, because they're getting first-hand reviews, not just getting text, they're getting first-hand reviews, video, they're seeing the food, they're seeing a reaction. It might be paid, but that's how the world is working now. And that's only going to grow with the amount of tension that these apps like Instagram and TikTok are getting. So there has to be new ways of thinking about how to use social media, and that's always evolving. Yeah. So it's not just a case of posting a picture, showing your face. There's so much more to it. It is absolutely your shop window. Yeah.
So how do you use social media just now for like Afterglow? Like what's the main platforms that you use, and like what's your social media strategy?
So, well, mainly it's Instagram and TikTok. They're the main two I use. Instagram I use as an entertainment source. I find entertaining clips from weddings that I've filmed. Yeah. They mix from entertainment to also a bit of education. So I put speeches on there that best men might be looking for some inspiration on what to include in their speech. So I'll put in best men jokes. I put in emotional lines for inspiration that grooms can put into their speech. It's basically people that can get a laugh out of it, but they can also take something away from it. And that's the shareability factor for me. So that's my Instagram strategy, and TikTok kind of follows the same path. I have tried to mix in a bit more personal stuff in there, so behind the scenes of how I'm working, just to kind of show people not just what the end product is, but what it is that I actually do on a wedding day as well. I'm always trying to think about what are people thinking of when they try and hire someone? What do they want? Do they want to see the experience? Do they want inspiration? Like, am I going to be seen as an expert in the industry if someone comes onto my page? And that's what I'm trying to portray in a way that's different to anyone else.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely working, because at this point, how many followers have you got on Instagram?
So I'm over 16,000 now, but take that with a pinch of salt, because when you get clips that go viral, a lot of people flood to your page. Yeah, and a lot of people like it when people fall over in videos. That just happens. So a lot of people do follow. Don't get me wrong, when you post something else that goes viral, it does show that clip to all those people, and then you kind of escalate from their followers, so it kind of it compounds it. So they're not there to watch every single video, but they do exist in your algorithm. So it's good to have the number, and if you post clips that are similar to it, they're going to get that again. So yeah, we're just over 16,000 just now. It is climbing every day, and I'm still getting views and comments and likes from videos that I posted 2 years ago. Wow. So there's definitely the compounded thing, and it's the same on TikTok. Like, I think on TikTok there's like 200,000 views a month.
Wow.
And I'm doing really nothing to it. It's just people coming to the page. That's not 200,000 people who are looking for a wedding videographer. That's just 200,000 people
that
who
been
are
shown to.
getting entertained. The thing I need to do better at is making sure these videos are kind of on brand so that they know they're watching an afterglow video.
Yeah.
But it's all been experimental up until now, just kind of see what works. And I think I've got a good eye for clips that will resonate well with people. And that's been my growth strategy. But you use Instagram a lot differently.
I do. So I don't get me wrong. I've put up a couple of those kind of, clips, because I remember there was that one. This was before we were even talking about the podcast. I think before we'd actually probably met properly in person. I remember it was the one with it was the celebrant with the kilt. Remember? Yeah,
the kilt.
Yeah. Obviously that done pretty well. I think that got 1.5 million views on TikTok, and then also done pretty much just as well on Instagram. So that was good. I don't know. I find it. I don't know if it those types of videos can necessarily work for my brand per se. The way I use Instagram, I kind of use it like my shop window. So all my films go on, not all of them, because with the amount of weddings obviously that we do, if you were going to post every single wedding that you'd done, you would literally, you would need to hire somebody in to do it as a job, because it's not even just the posting, it's the, exporting the video to make sure that it works properly on Instagram, and then, sorting out all the tags. Like it can take me about 25 minutes just to do one post. So yeah, I kind of need to be a bit strict with myself to like how many I can actually post on the grid. But yeah, I use it as my shop window. I'll post my teasers and highlights on there. I use stories a lot. So, I think I have taken some of the advice from other kind of like peers in the industry to say that, stories are really, really important, just to kind of like keep you front of mind, because they get you the most views. So not everybody's going to see your content, like you said. So I use that, I would say, mostly, and I use it to kind of keep in touch with like other supplier friends and vendors and stuff.
That's something big for me as well. Yeah. I was saying the other day that I don't really use my personal Instagram.
I don't.
I just exist on social media as a business, but it doesn't necessarily have my name on it, but it is me.
The persona is you.
Yeah, it is me. Yeah. So yeah, I use stories. I use stories less than you, but you're really good at stories. Like every single day, there is a bunch of like updates on the edit queue that you've got. If there's a new gallery that's available, so it shows that you're always delivering. You post a lot with your family on there. And have you found growth with that? Like what communication are people giving you back to that?
So the funny thing is, like, so because I post just like in the life of the Rizzos updates kind of thing, like people then get to see through a lens, like obviously like the family and stuff like that. So like I do have like couples that will come on to like calls that I've not spoke to before, like an initial inquiry call, and say, oh, I seen the wee shot of Frankie or whatever, or Harry. So they kind of feel like they can build up a bit of a connection with you before they've even actually properly spoken to you, which is another thing for me, because I am, as I kind of describe myself as, hyper personable. So, and I wanted to just kind of get that across. And people that are hyper personable normally share a lot of information, about themselves and stuff. So, to encourage the share back. So that, I find that works really, really well. And also then for like, because I was speaking to one of my past couples today, because I put up a story where so Frankie was out at a birthday party and I decided to take Harry out for a game of football because he loves football. So I told him to go pick his shoes, and he comes back and he picks a white one and a blue one. So I'm like, no, we'll just put the white one on. Has an absolute meltdown, as 2-year-olds do, because it's the end of the world that I am asking him to put on matching trainers because I'm such a bad father.
Sounds just like his daddy.
Yeah. So then I just went, all right, well, whatever. And then, he wasn't too happy that I had 2 white ones on. So I just went, right, well, I'll just go and get the blue one then, and I'll just look like an absolute tool like you. So the two of us went out.
And sure you've got the right shoes.
Yeah, I do have the right shoes on today. I do. And we went outside. We went to the park. People were definitely staring at us, wondering what the hell is going on. not only that, I bump into one of my oldest friends, Charlie's mum, in the park. And the first thing I blurted out to her was, "I promise I'm not mental." So yeah, so stuff like that, and that obviously then gets you a lot of engagement and stuff, as well, because even on that story that I posted when I showed that Harry had those shoes on, and I said I thought I'd join him, that got something like about 25 reactions or something like that, and almost as many like DMs through as well, which is also then good as well for like the algorithm, because then the algorithm kind of kicks in and it starts then showing people your content again, because a lot of the people that don't follow you or follow you, maybe past brides, are maybe not getting shown your videos as much anymore because their algorithm has realised that they are no longer searching wedding stuff, so they must be married, so let's push other content out to them, like puppies or kids or whatever,
Yeah.
So it's good for that respect as well.
It's a lot of people might not realize it, but if you use Instagram daily, you might notice, obviously, you follow, let's say, between 300 to 1,000 accounts. Obviously, you can't see all of those accounts all the time. They might be posting daily, but there might be people that you've not seen in a long time. But if you ever log on, you might see the same stories every single day. Like, they're the only people posting stories. But that's only because Instagram's showing you that because you engage with that account a lot, or you watch their stories a lot. So the fact that Danny's like posting a lot of stories means that he's always front of face. Whenever people open Instagram, his face is going to be there, just ready to watch a story. And from that, you're going to see content from it. So if you're not posting on stories all the time, you're not giving Instagram enough people to engage with your content. So it's pretty important to be active on there. Now, would you have any advice on like what has worked for you in terms of how many stories a day or anything like that?
It kind of just depends, because I don't really there will be some days where I maybe just don't put anything up, just because it's also good to just get off social media. There will be days where at the weekend, for instance, because so much happened at that wedding, there was so much to share, and there was so many suppliers sharing things, Ewan from Shades of Sax, as soon as he's there, you're getting about 50 stories to put up, It's brilliant. It's great. Keep doing it, Ewan. So then, I think I probably had about 20 different stories up at the one time. But then also it can get a little bit, because somebody's having to click through 20 stories, do you know what I mean? So I'm also a little bit cognizant of maybe that isn't the greatest thing, but I will, on any given day, I'll maybe try and have, 2, 3 maybe, or something like that. Then obviously if there's something else that happens, then there will be more. But I would say try and at least get one story up a day of something, because that way you're popping onto that feed. And I think the more stories that you have on there, the higher up in the feed that you're going to go into people. So my kind of aim for it is, and again, this was taking advice from peers, was to just try and be in that number one spot in everybody's feed. And by doing that, you do need to put in quite a few. But if you're not too, because I'm kind of okay with putting myself on camera and stuff like that. So I've just, I'm fine to kind of do that and put as many as possible on. But in answer to your question, I would say try and get at least one, but try and get a few on every day.
See, I actually read something like Meta do actually release advice on stuff to do.
Do they?
Yeah, they do. So I read something.
Fancy that.
And
watch this. It'll be wrong. Don't post any story.
It does fall in line with what you're saying, to be fair. But they say to post all of your stories at once. Scatter them throughout the day doesn't necessarily do as well, because people always go to see the first story. But if it's old, it might get buried between stories that seem more relevant to that time of day. So they advise you to do it sort of in once and let your stories expire. And they say kind of about 3 to 4 is what they would recommend. If it's not daily, at least a few times a week. But that's their kind of recommendation. It definitely works for different people, but I understand what they mean. And ways that you could do this at a wedding is potentially film all the content of the day on your phone, and then the next day release it all at once. And that way people can see all of your stories and not have to, because sometimes they might get half the story and then they'll come back later. It's interesting because for me, I'd be like, well, if I was interested in what they had to say earlier,
I'd go back.
Might go back. So everyone's different. They obviously can't make one rule for everyone.
Yeah.
But that's what some of the experts are saying. Whether or not it's true, it's up to you to decide. But that's kind of the tactic that I'm going to be going just now. But as you were saying, with the kind of content that works, whenever I do stuff that's business related, it never gets as much engagement as when personal stuff goes up. But I know that not everyone wants to talk about personal stuff when it comes to their business. So what do we say to them? What are they gonna do?
We've chatted about this before again off podcast, but there's stuff, if you're not, like, for instance, if you're not comfortable being on camera, which I know not everybody is, and I still though think and would encourage people to try and get comfortable with it. Obviously your end product is the product, especially as like a videographer or a photographer, but you are also part of that product, because it's not just the product itself, it's also the experience that you can deliver. And people buy from people, so if they see you and they can hear your voice and relate to you and see you in the flesh somewhat through a screen, they'll be more likely to book you once they start chatting to you. So I would always encourage everybody to do that, but for people that aren't terribly comfortable with it, you can start to put up things, or even like posts and stuff like that, about the things that you want to shoot or the things that you enjoy about shooting. If you actually talked this through the last time off air, so why don't you kind of talk about what thing that they could actually do with that?
Yeah, I mean, if you think about why people book experts in the profession, it's because they're experts. They've got the experience. They understand the right way to do things. And obviously, because we're service, we're working with you. So we want to create the best product for our clients. So how can you share your knowledge? If you're not comfortable with like talking about your personal life and showing what you're like as a person, then show what you're like as someone who does that service. What do we know about a wedding day that's really good? We know that golden hour is great.
Yeah.
So why not make some posts encouraging people to go out after dinner for golden hour? It looks amazing, right?
No, it does. I'm just thinking, because I'm about to do one of those posts using those slowed down shots that you were saying earlier.
Exactly. And what's going to happen from that is people are going to say, oh my God.
45 minutes of slow-mo.
Oh my God, Danny, that looks absolutely amazing. Could you speed it up just a little bit? Because I'm
getting bored.
I'm so bored. It's taken me half an hour to walk across to see my husband. Please. But yeah, that's exactly it, because people are going to see that. We all think that everyone knows what shots they want out of the wedding film, but we can really help them. Like confetti.
Yeah.
Does anyone who's never been married before actually know where to get confetti? I've not bought confetti yet. I'm going to speak to some
photographers.
Please
get the colourful stuff.
Get the colourful stuff. Although I did shoot one with white and it looked beautiful.
I mean, it can do, but I mean, like,
yeah. But don't
also
get the, don't
going
get the
back to the slow-mo thing, that was at that wedding as well. And oh my God, it looks phenomenal. It's like
that's acceptable.
It's like also there's levels to this acceptableness.
Yeah, of course. Okay. Although you need a little bit of full speed and then speed ramp that down. Beautiful.
I just got the slow-mo. Give me a break. Yeah, that is a great point. That is a great point, because people, if you think about it from somebody that has never been married before, they're the kind of key, because they're the moments that everybody sees and everybody wants, right? They want the confetti, but they maybe don't know about the other stuff, like, so even a lot of couples don't even really know about golden hour, and they're like, don't really know what that is, and it's like, yeah. You need to know what this is, because if it happens at your wedding and you don't take us up on it, like creatives, you will have a very, very sad photographer and videographer looking out into the golden light distance and wishing that you'd said yes.
You're showcasing what that might look like for them at their wedding if you do posts and stories about that. It even goes as far as like working with a makeup artist. If you've got a makeup artist that you're friends with, do a collaboration on where to sit in the morning. Where do you get the most natural light? What you could ask your friends who are in the industry advice, like make sure you've got like plugs or something. Like just we're all experts in the industry, and I'm sure if we've worked with enough people, we can collaborate on posts together to give more value to our clients. That's what social media is all about, delivering value rather than sale.
One thing that I actually do, and you can do it on your phone, I kind of prefer to do it on the camera just because it looks better, but is capture some like BTS shots of the the makeup artist and the hairdresser, to then you can either do both. You can send it to them, and then you could also do like a little collaborative post or a story, you know, that you can use as well. And again, if you think about it, you know, for instance, if they do a collaborative post with you, you're then essentially accessing some of their network as well. They then see you, start following you, you know, then get to know you through your Instagram, potentially inquire and book. And it's like that flywheel of doing stuff. But also, not to make it one-sided, but you're also getting really nice footage of the makeup artist and hairdresser who, you know, are busy at work and maybe don't have time, probably love to get some, you know, professionally shot footage. So it's a win. It's a win for them as well.
There's no supplier in any industry right now that doesn't want content.
There's no business. Everybody wants it.
Everybody wants it. So if it happens to be that you capture them at work and they've got a bride looking absolutely amazing, I think some people might go, oh, I don't really want that on my feed. My grid is not going to be. Then post a story. If they share that story, then you're getting exposure to all of their followers. And how many people have like a makeup artist or that they go to before they're even engaged that they're going to be chatting? Oh, who do they love? If you're already friends with this vendor, they're going to be the first person they mention.
Yeah, but they can hide it. They can hide it off their grid.
They can hide it. Yeah,
if they wanted to, if it wasn't aesthetically pleasing. So I will try and make sure that it's not like, you know, especially if I'm collaborating with other vendors, do you know what I mean? Especially if it's like specific ones as well, and make sure maybe that it's, you know, say it was like a massive like floral kind of supplier or whatever that you were dealing with. I'd make sure that there was some of that in it, so that obviously that matches in with their grid as well as mine. It looks good, but then other stuff, maybe just making sure that the actual profile picture that you use isn't maybe too bold in comparison to like the other collaborator that you're going to be inviting in. I think that's another wee thing to think about, because then they're maybe more likely to accept it as well, because it's not like a bad cover photo or whatever.
I've also realized we've mentioned the word collaborating a few times, and some people who don't use Instagram all the time might not actually know that this is something you can do. At least before, you could only collaborate with one person. Now you can collaborate with 5.
Yeah.
And
I wish you could collaborate with more, to be honest.
I wish you could too. But actually, do you know now that people can deny it, and then you can still add another collaboration now? You can go back and add more.
Only if they deny it, though.
They can message you. If they don't accept it, you can remove them and add another one. Before, you had to do it all before the post. So you can basically be flexible. If someone denies it, just throw someone else in. So
welcome to Jason's school of social media and Instagram. Yeah. I am merely the student. This is the master. No, I didn't know that. That's cool.
A fun thing.
That's good.
For my most recent post,
when did that change?
I only noticed it last week.
It must be recent.
Because and you can also change the picture, the cover photo. Because before you would be able to change that once it was uploaded. Now you can change.
Does it let you scroll through?
Unless you upload a picture.
Yeah. It doesn't let you scroll through.
I don't know about that. But also you can't change the crop of the grid, so it has to be the top half of the picture is whatever you're going to get. But I had I uploaded my video from Morocco, and one of the planners was like, the picture you've used doesn't really match our brand, so I uploaded a picture that the photographer Connor shot, and
your video's still shit, mate. Can I get a photo?
Pretty much. I think hairdressers and makeup artists do actually get value if you collaborate with their videos, because you're seeing their work through the entire video.
Ah, exactly. The girls that got married at what more like Pippa and Abby. So Gillian and Suzanne, the makeup artist and hairdresser, they done a fantastic job, because that was the wettest wedding I have ever done. And probably will ever do. And the girls still looked 10 out of 10. They were looking phenomenal all day, and hats off to you. So yeah, I agree. I think that is one thing that is like a constant is going to be the makeup and the hair and like every single photo, you know. So,
So I know we spoke a lot about Instagram here. I mean, the same kind of rules apply on TikTok. There is differences to them. I think you have much more of a connection with your followers on Instagram, and it seems that everyone in the industry does play in there. TikTok is definitely something you shouldn't be ignoring. I know that you don't really use TikTok a lot.
I kind of do ignore it. And I know I shouldn't, but I just...
Because it's like, much bigger.
I've got 2 kids. I've got another kid coming. Like, I've got like 3 different businesses on the go, and I don't really have a lot of free time. I think the thing that annoys me about TikTok is because it will mute... I can't post my highlights, so I haven't quite figured out in my head how do I use it differently to how I use Instagram, because I'm going to have to.
If you think about it, TikTok doesn't want to show your highlights.
It hates them.
No
it
offense,
hates them.
But it
Mutes
doesn't
them.
want them, right? It
know,
doesn't
but
want. It wants original audio. It wants
especially
advice.
100 frames a second.
So if you think about the rules of social media, you've got to entertain, educate, or inspire, right? That's the absolute golden rules when it comes to all social media. So if you're not educating or entertaining, I mean, you might argue that your highlights, your teasers are entertaining, but mostly for the couples that they were designed for. If you can get speeches that inspire, or get even like I do behind the scenes at weddings, where I've got an Insta360 on my camera, and I'll upload me giving instructions to the couples. That's the kind of stuff that I think would work on TikTok. It's all about experiencing what it's like actually working there, because there's people who are looking for advice for their speeches. As we said earlier, it's a search engine. Put content, like we've all heard the same jokes. The same jokes, we put the hand top of the other hand, like going to Wales for a week for the honeymoon. We've all heard those jokes in every single wedding we've done. But people who don't go to weddings all the time have never heard them. So if you're the first to stick it up, it's a great way for people to get inspiration for what to put in their speech. So that's how I use TikTok.
I need to do it. I do need to do it, but I just it's another thing to think about, and it's another thing to edit from. But I know I should do it. So
you've already edited it.
No, I know, but you know what I mean. Like turning it very cool.
It's not easy. It's not easy. I spent a lot of time doing it when I was consistent. I did it for 3 months.
But it's paid dividends for you, because you've had bookings from TikTok.
Yep, TikTok. I do get inquiries. I get inquiries from all over the world from TikTok. Yeah. But
I kind of feel as well. I think I don't know. I feel like sometimes as well, like the demographic on TikTok, it is a lot younger.
I disagree.
Do you?
I completely disagree. I think the demographic for TikTok started younger, but now the majority of 25 to 40-year-olds are using TikTok over Instagram. If you think about Instagram, right? Who do you talk to on Instagram on a regular basis?
Same people.
Businesses.
Yeah.
Businesses are using Instagram. And I don't think we're the only ones using it. Obviously, clearly there are people using it. But when people aren't using Instagram, they're using TikTok.
Yeah.
That's where the main demographic are. And no one is really utilizing it in a way, because we get our sound muted and because we want to look away. Instagram's a great way for a shop window.
Yeah.
TikTok is a great way to inspire and get them at a stage before they're even thinking about it. Also, TikTok pays. If you qualify and get enough followers on it, which, you might think 10,000 followers is quite steep, but that's one viral video.
Yeah, you get loads of followers just from one video.
So I got them a couple of years ago, and they've introduced this new payment thing called a creativity program, the creativity beta program, I think it's called. That might change now though. And they will pay a considerable amount per million views, which seems ridiculous. But if you post something viral, which doesn't need to be out there, it just needs to be a nice emotional moment or a funny moment from a wedding. Like I posted something of these, the bride's mum, and she dressed like ABBA. Now this doesn't happen at every wedding, but that video got 2 million views, and I got 600 quid from that. That's insane. It's an insane way to make some extra cash on social media just by posting some extra work. So I think TikTok is really an underrated opportunity still. I think people should be spending way more time on it.
I mean, I know I should. I just, I'm going to be one tired wee laddie soon, and come July when baby number 3 is here. So, but I think once I've sorted some other kind of like workflow things out with Rizzo Films, then I will give it some attention, because I know as well. I think if you look back at what's happened with Facebook, it's definitely good as well to make sure that all your eggs are not in one basket, because we've had conversations with people that they're pretty much their sole referral network and lead source was through Facebook, and obviously as we all know, that has kind of died a death now, because everybody pretty much under the age of, or the majority of people under the age of 24 don't have Facebook. They kind of think it's a old person's thing, which makes me feel brilliant. So, and I mean, I don't even really use Facebook anymore. I just use it for the groups that I'm in. But So yeah, I think that's a prime example as to why you shouldn't have all your eggs in one basket. So do not follow my example. Follow Jason's.
Well, what if Instagram goes down one day? Which it does. It goes down once a year.
Don't say that.
It crashes once a year. You know it does. And then everyone's like, oh my God, we're never going to have it. So WhatsApp goes down, Facebook goes down, Instagram goes down, and then everyone flocks to TikTok where my videos get a boost. So
yeah, I will do it. I mean,
this range is all. You got TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, Facebook. That's all. We've obviously focused way more.
YouTube. So I know you were slating me earlier on today when I said.
Why don't you tell me what happened? Why don't you just go into detail about what happened? Let's break this down.
One of my videos went straight to the top.
Straight to the top.
Straight to the top of my recent videos, and it had how many? 26 views in the last 20 hours. That's over a view an hour. Got to take the little wins,
I don't want to
Jason.
burst your bubble. I had 23, so it's actually less than 1 hour. On average, it's 0.99.
Over 20 hours.
Oh, well done. They were both from you, probably.
I know, but because basically, so when you put your videos onto YouTube, it will tell you how it's doing compared to your other videos that you have posted over the certain time frame. So if you've just, if you post your video 3 hours ago, it will say, this is where this video ranks in comparison to your last 10 that you've uploaded within the first 3 hours, and that one has went straight to the top. So yes, it actually is a good thing because it's giving you an indication as to how well that video should do long term. Mm-hmm. But which was also probably due to the 100 frames a second. But YouTube is another one as well that you should definitely be focusing on because you can post your full highlights on there. Heck, you can post your full documentaries if you want to. Don't do that. But you can use that as another shop window, and I have done it consistently. Again, as many that I can actually post on there because it does it again. It's another time sink of posting it on. But generally, if I post it on Instagram, I'll post it on YouTube so that they can find the full screen, the full 4K file after watching it on Instagram if they wanted to. And I am starting to see a bit of traction here from people finding me on YouTube and then coming to the site and saying that that's where they found me from. And I have had, I think, between last year and this year, 5 bookings from YouTube, which obviously doesn't seem massive. However, that's still, still a good return for just posting a video on there. And that's how they found me, because if they hadn't have found me, if they didn't find me, they maybe have found somebody else. And if you for instance, if you go into the Kinmount YouTube page, I think pretty much all you'll see is me. Mm-hmm. So
yeah, it's really good for venue specific things because when people book their venue, if you think about a search engine, what's the biggest video search engine in the world?
People still go to that.
It's YouTube. Yeah. It's owned by Google. It's gonna come up in Google results. If they typed in Kinmount House, they're definitely gonna see you.
And they're all my films are listed on there as well. Like that's where because I don't use Vimeo. So that's how they watch my film through my website is by the YouTube link.
Yeah, so it's definitely worth sticking your stuff. I need to put my back catalogue all on YouTube and SEO it up. I use TubeBuddy, which is really useful for me to kind of crank up the SEO score. But also, don't forget, YouTube has a short form video content called Shorts, and it's really easy to batch upload there. You can do that on a desktop. You could just batch 30 videos in one go if you want to. Yep. It's really simple. DM me if you want to find out how to do that. It's pretty simple.
Slide into the DMs.
But yeah, there's so many eyes out there that are looking for content to watch, and as long as you create stuff that isn't necessarily self-serving all the time and you're giving back to the community and giving value to people who are giving you their time, you should see some results. And that's kind of been my philosophy for the last couple of years that I've been doing it.
Cool.
So you've been listening to That Wedding Videographer podcast. We've been talking about social media and we'd love to hear from you. As always, you can find us on Instagram at That Wedding Videographer podcast. Send us a DM with a voice note if you'd like to have your voice heard on the podcast. Got any opinions, questions, whatever the case may be.
Send your voice notes in with that and we may play it on the podcast as long as it's compass mentis and understandable.
What was that? What was that word?
Compass mentis.
Word of the day. Compass mentis.
Toilet paper. Word of the day. Toilet paper.
Oh, yeah.
Don't actually have that. Yeah, thank you very much for tuning in, and we will see you on the next episode.
Thanks very much. See you later.
Bye.